So people, how are you doing? And welcome back to a new video. I know you guys will be expecting a match reaction from yesterday's game against Doncaster, but unfortunately I only watched the second half of the game as I completely forgot that we had the lunchtime kickoff and I got called into work. So I missed the first half, didn't watch enough of the game for me to make a video, but what a result that was, eh? What a fantastic result. 1-0 victory, fairly comfortable in the end. Donny didn't really offer us much. And Ian Martson, in his new role, playing on the right-hand side this time in right wing, worked a treat. And Nigel Adkins got the best out of him. But enough of yesterday's result, because that's not what this video is. What we're going to be doing in today's video is taking a look at all of the players that are out of contract in the summer. And we're going to be going over who I think Nigel Adkins should look to keep at the club going into the 2021-22 season and who he should let go. And I must warn you, there's quite a lot. There is quite a lot of players that are out of contract in the summer. This does include all of the loans that we have. So obviously we've got 5 loans at the club. This does include these loans. And I also did ask you guys on Instagram what you guys think. Should these players stay and should they leave? We're going to take a look at those Instagram poll results, see what the majority have voted for, and I'm going to give my thoughts on who I think should stay and who must go. So without any further hesitation, let's dive straight into this video. So we will go through the players in no particular order, starting off with the experienced head himself, Darren Pratley. He is obviously out of contract in the summer, 35 years of age, and yeah, I think this is definitely going to divide opinions in the comments. It definitely did in the poll. It was 54-46 in favour of stay. Obviously, he's played some of this season at centre-half, which just hasn't worked, in my opinion. He's just looked absolutely terrible. But when he's in the middle of the park, the majority of the time, he is an enforcer. You know, he's a leader on that pitch. He's a useful body to have around the club. And I think that out of the 2 experienced defensive midfielders that we have, you guys will know full well who the other one is. I think Pratley is the one that should stay. He's done very well in the past. And I think that even though he hasn't been up to standard of the previous 2 seasons this year, I still think he's done well. And I do think he is a useful body to have around the squad out of him and the other defensive midfielder, who, of course, is Ben Watson. Of course, we brought him in the summer from Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest regarded him as their best player last year, and of course, they finished 7th in the Championship. So the player that we signed, a lot of people were very excited by this signing. You know, Forest's best player, obviously, playing at the top of the Championship last year. We expected good things from him, and it's fair to say that he definitely has not lived up to those expectations. I think he's been fairly average this season, to be honest with you. Nothing special at all. You know, he loves the yellow card, and I think, you know, he just doesn't really, I don't know, he just doesn't really offer us much, if I'm being totally honest with you. He's definitely not the player that we thought that we'd signed. And the Instagram poll seems to think the same. It was 65% in favour of leaves. And to be honest, I have to agree. I think Watson should leave. He's put in a couple decent performances here and there, but yeah, definitely not the player that we thought that we signed. Next up, we have centre-half Deji Oshilaja, who joined the club last season from AFC Wimbledon on a free transfer. And this one did surprise me. It surprised me as to how one-sided it was. It was 70-30 in favour of stay. Now, I was quite surprised by that, you know. I didn't expect it to be that one-sided. However, I do have to agree. Currently, right now, I wouldn't consider him a first-team regular. You know, we've got Ryan Ennis, we've got Jason Pearce, who has rejuvenated his form lately, and obviously Adkins, who is absolutely fantastic this season. Deji, you could definitely consider him to be our 4th choice centre-back. Even in the Championship last year when we had Naby Sarr, Tom Lockyer and Jason Pearce, you would consider him to be our 4th choice that season as well. But he's a useful player to have, and I do think that this season, you know, despite the criticism that he does receive from the Charlton fans, I think overall this year he has had a good season, and I do think that he's taken his chance well with the injuries that have happened this year, and I think that he has done well. He's not a first-team regular, but he is a useful player to have. I don't think he's Championship standard, but if we stay in League One, he's a useful player to have around the squad. Youth Academy graduate and second-choice goalkeeper Ashley Maynard Brewer is also out of contract in the summer, and like Deji Oshilaja, this was very one-sided. 77% of you on the Instagram poll voted for the Aussie to stay at the club, and once again, I have to completely agree. Under Nigel Adkins, who loves to bring through young players and loves to give young players a chance, I honestly would not be surprised next season if Maynard Brewer is to be a lot more involved. I remember seeing him in the Papa John's Trophy first round tie in the group stage against Wimbledon, and he pulled off some really good saves in that game, and I think he's a very good young keeper who just hasn't had his chance yet, and I think that under Adkins it's the perfect opportunity for him to be given that chance. And yeah, I'd keep him. I'd keep Maynard Brewer. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him, provided that we can actually utilise him and give him a chance. However, there is one youth academy player that is out of contract in the summer that, to be honest with you, I don't rate and I don't think has a future with the club anymore, and that is midfielder Ben Dempsey. Now, he is currently out on loan in the National League with Woking. He was on loan with them last year, I believe, on a short-term deal, but then they signed him again on another short-term deal, and then that was extended in January to a end-of-the-season loan, and I don't know how he's getting on there, but I think he's played a couple of games for them this season. The only time I've actually seen Dempsey play was in the Championship last season when he had to come into the squad due to the amount of injuries, and you could definitely see his inexperience. You know, I mean, obviously he'd been playing like National League South, going out on loan to the National League South. They were the only professional minutes he was getting, that and the youth academy. I don't rate him, to be honest with you. I don't really like the look of him. 56% of you voted in favour for him to stay. In my opinion, I'm going to go against that, and to be honest, I think Dempsey should leave. I don't think he's got a future at the club anymore. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you, if Woking signed him on a permanent deal. As I say, I've not seen him play at Woking. I don't know how he's getting on, but the fact that he's had a season-long loan there shows that he must be doing something right there, so I won't be surprised if Woking do pick him up on a permanent basis. And to be honest, I think that's probably for the best of him, to be fair. The skipper, Jason Pearce. This is definitely going to divide opinion. If you'd have asked me this probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I'd have said leave the club hands down, because he has, for the most part this season, been shocking. You know, he has made some really, really big errors, and, you know, for our experienced defender, our most experienced defender, our captain, making the mistakes that he has done this season is unacceptable. Recently, he has played really well, and he has put in some captain's performances. 54-46 in favour of stay, so it was quite close. And if I'm honest with you, I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence with this one now. As I said, if you'd have asked me about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I'd have said leave the club hands down. But now he's put in some good performances, and some really good performances, in fact. I am slightly, ever so slightly, leaning towards leave. There is a part of me that just thinks he's just past it at this point. You know, it just makes me think that he's just, you know, he's past it, and it's probably time for him to move on. But recently, he has put in some good performances, so I do want to see if he can keep this up for the rest of the season, for the last couple of games. But as I said, the vast majority of the season, he has put in some poor performances, and I'm leaning more towards leave. But I don't know with that one. Now we get on to the first of 5 loans, starting off with the Dutch left-back / right winger now, the Chelsea loanee Ian Maatsen. At the start of the season, Ian was absolutely electric. You know, he's absolutely fantastic. Bomb forward, so much pace. And then around the Christmas period, when we went on like a really bad run of form, he wasn't the same player that he was at the start of the season. You know, in possession, he was absolutely shocking. And to be fair, in possession, it's been his weakness. Positional awareness as well. He's an attacking fullback, you know, so he'll dart forward constantly, trying to get forward. And then when the other team is on the break, he'll show no sort of effort to get back. So we're a defender short already, and he's completely out of position so many times. Under Adkins yesterday against Doncaster, he experimented by playing him in the right wing position, and it worked a treat. You know, he scored the winning goal, he got us the win, and it was a really well taken goal, so a really good finish, and I've done really well to get his body in front of Reece James and slammed it into the ground past the goalkeeper. Really good finish, that. And, you know, we've seen this before. You know, we've seen it before with Alfie Doughty. You know, we all thought he was a left back. Under Lee Bowyer, he experimented by playing him in the right wing position, and again, it worked a treat. You know, he was a really good player. And Adkins has experimented with Maatsen, playing him as a winger, and me and a lot of Charlton fans have always said that Maatsen is more built as a winger, and he will play well as a winger. You know, as a fullback, he's not got the defensive awareness. I will definitely take him back hands down next season on loan. We definitely won't get him permanently, but I would take him back, definitely. 55% of you agree with me. For the most part this season, he has shown his worth. He has done very well, and I definitely will take him on loan next season, but I will not be surprised if a championship club is to come in for him. Next up is the Arsenal loanee Matt Smith, and this one was so close in the poll. So close, in fact, that it was a 50-50. It was a 50-50 split right down the middle. You guys could not make your mind up. If I'm being totally honest with you, I agree with the poll in terms of the 50-50 split. I don't know. He has played a couple of games this season, certainly a lot more games than the other Matt Smith we had last year from Man City. But yeah, I'm on the fence with this one. I don't really know, because I've not seen enough of him to make a fair judgment. But if I had to pick one side or the other, I'd probably say I'm more in favour of stay, because, you know, he's a young player. You know, he's done well this season in League One for Swindon, and, you know, he's proven at this level. So, and obviously when he's given his chance, I'm sure he is a good player. So if Charlton was to get him back on loan next season, I wouldn't complain with it, provided, of course, that he gets minutes and he gets regular game time. time, and under Adkins, hopefully he will give in that minutes if we are to sign him. The man in between the sticks, Ben Amos. I have seen that Amos has come under a lot of criticism this season. You know, a lot of people have been on his back saying that we should drop him quite a fair bit. I do think for the most part, he hasn't had a lot to do, has he? He hasn't had a lot to do this season, Amos, really. He's not really been tested throughout the season. He's kept 14 clean sheets, which is one of the best in the entire league. He is the least of our worries, let's be honest, because the defensive line in front of him has been shocking. I do think we should keep him, and 75% of you agree with me on the poll. This season, he has done fairly alright, with all things considering. You know, he's not really had much to do this season. He's not really been called upon a lot. But yeah, he's a useful player to have, in my opinion. He's a useful player to have, but there is the argument that we could well bring in a new keeper in the summer, because, you know, it's good to have that competition in the side, whether we give Maynard Brewer a shot or we bring in a fresh new goalkeeper, I don't know. The Luton Town loanee turned permanent signing, Andrew Shinnie. The Scotsman obviously joined the club in the summer from Luton Town, initially on a season-long loan, but obviously with the signing of Matt Smith, we had 6 loans, and we decided to make this Shinnie deal a permanent deal, but we only gave him a short-term contract until the end of the season, which did, you know, it did weird me out a little bit that he only wanted a short-term deal. But to be fair, he's probably keeping his options open. You know, if a championship team does come in for him, he's probably going to take that, which is probably why he took the short-term deal. But I would definitely have him in a Charlton shirt next season. He has been absolutely fantastic. 89-11 in favour of stay. He's got the most assists for the club this season with 6. All that free kick against Oxford, oh my word, what a strike. And obviously that goal against Bristol Rovers as well, to take it on the weak foot into the bottom corner. Really good finish. And Shinnie, you know, he's a fantastic player. He's a really, really good player. Another experienced Ted, 31 years of age. He knows this league really well. He won Player of the Year with Luton Town the season they pissed the league in 2018-19, and he's been fantastic for us this season, and I would definitely keep him in a Charlton shirt next season, no questions asked. And the same can also be said for the player that looks set to win our Player of the Year award, Jake Forster-Caskey. This guy has been absolutely fantastic this season. Such an influence in the middle of that pitch, and I'm so happy that he's had this really, really good season, because the last 2 seasons he's been absolutely plagued with injury. This season he's been able to stay fit. He's had the odd injury here and there, but for the most part he has been able to stay fit, and what an influence he's been on us this season. Such an influence in the middle of that pitch, constantly running about the place, making interceptions, tackles, getting forward, and I'm not surprised at all that 95% of you voted in favour for him to stay. And JFC, he is a player that we need to tie down, and pretty quickly, because I will not be surprised if other clubs are interested in him and he is to make a championship move, but we need to make sure that we tie this guy down ASAP. Liverpool winger Liam Miller was voted 87-13 in favour of stay. And while I must say he has frustrated me a little bit this season, I do have to agree with the poll. I do think Miller should stay on for next season. You know, he's a young player again. He's like 21, 22, I think. 21, I think he is. And I think he has done well. You know, he's got the 1 goal to his name this season, as well as 5 assists. He has frustrated me, as I said, you know, in terms of his predictability. You know, he's become quite predictable. He loves to take on his man, but cut it onto that right foot, and sometimes his end product has been quite poor. But I do think for the most part he has been pretty good. There's potential there. There is a player there. I just really hope that he uses his left foot now and again. 70-30 in favour of leave for the Turkish Messi, Ozan Tumar, currently out on loan with Bristol Rovers. And once again, I completely agree with the poll. Ozzy just hasn't worked out. He just has not worked out at this club. Even when we signed him last season, I had my doubts, because I didn't think that he was going to play that often. And obviously we signed him from Bolton, who got relegated that season, and he barely played and didn't really show his worth. In the Championship, he only got the 1 assist, I think it was. He did start a couple of games with us at the start of the season. He scored a really good free kick against Wimbledon in the Papa John's Trophy, and played a couple of games in League One, but he was shipped out on loan to Bristol Rovers, who are really having a troublesome season this year. Yeah, I do think League One is his level, and I think that he just isn't good enough for our team personally, so yeah. Pretty self-explanatory with this one. I think Ozan Tumar, yeah, it's time to leave. Another youth academy player that is out of contract in the summer is midfielder James Vennes, and yeah, I think we should give this guy a chance. I do think we should give him a shot of first team football. I think he's only played 1 game this season. I think we played him against Sunderland in the first half back at the Valley way back in October. He's a very inexperienced player, and we could well chuck him out on loan, you know, to a League 2 side or a National League side like what Dempsey is going on right now. And I do like him. I do rate Vennes, and I think that he should be given a shot under Adkins. And 65% of you agree with me. 65% of you voted in favour for him to stay. And yeah, I'd like to see Vennes get a couple minutes in the squad. You know, I'd like to see him feature a little bit more. But I would not be surprised if we were to give him a new deal and then ship him out on loan, you know, to give him some regular minutes. The 6'3" animal at the back, Norwich City loanee Akin Famuwo, 93 to 7 in favour of stay. And once again, I am completely agreeing with the poll. Famuwo, we need to tie this guy down, but on a permanent transfer. With Norwich looking set to make a return to the Premier League, let's face it, is Famuwo going to get regular minutes at Norwich? I don't think so, personally, and I think he will be more than happy to make a move to the club permanently in the summer. He's 22 years of age, a young prodigy, and he really has been fantastic. So composed at the back. That partnership of him and Ryan Innes at the back during our unbeaten run at the start of the season, absolutely phenomenal. Like that carrier ship that blocked the Suez Canal recently. That is what that back line of Famuwo and Innes is. They have been absolutely colossal for us this season. And you know what? I think we've got half a chance in doing it. As I said, with Norwich looking to go up to the Premier League, I don't think he's going to get regular minutes. Unless a Championship team comes in for him, he'll probably want to move there. But I would absolutely keep Famuwo at this club. Next up, we have the Welsh right back Adam Matthews. Obviously joined the club in the summer of last season on a free transfer from Sunderland after he was released by the Black Cat, and he's the best of the two right backs. It's as simple as that. Between him and Chris Gunter, I'm having Matthews in my side, no questions asked. Adkins did start Matthews in Friday's game against Doncaster, where he did have a bit of a nervy moment where he backheeled it back to Ben Amos aside his own penalty area. Nonetheless, Matthews I'd have in the starting 11 over Gunter hands down, and in the 2 years that he's been at this club, he's been absolutely fabulous, and I definitely think that we should be doing our utmost to keep hold of him at the club. And 85% of you agree with me on that one. You guys want Matthews to stay, the majority of you, and I completely agree. The headmaster himself, Jayden Stockley, on loan from Preston North End until the end of this season. When we first signed Jayden, I did have my doubts. Because, you know, he done very well at Exeter. He got the move to Preston, where he hasn't scored all that many goals for them. This season in particular, before he made the move to Charlton, he'd scored just the 1 goal for Preston. So I did have my doubts with him coming in, but I did think that he was a massive upgrade on the likes of, you know, Paul Smith and Omar Bogle. Stockley, he has proved me wrong massively this season. He's been absolutely fantastic. In the air, he is such a dominant threat, and he's got 5 goals to his name this season, all of which have been headers, and they have all of them been fantastic headers, you know. From the interview that he gave a couple of weeks ago, or a month ago I think it was, where he said that to have Charlton on your CV is a really good thing to have, and he does definitely sound like he wants to come here on a permanent basis with him being out of favour at Preston. So yeah, personally I would definitely have Stockley back, and I think Stockley would be more than happy to come back to SE7. 93-7 in favour of stay. Again, I completely agree. I think Stockley definitely should be coming back to SE7, and to be honest, I think he will. Now, this one is bound to divide opinions. Mr. Attitude himself, Marcus Madison, currently out on loan at Bolton Wanderers for the remainder of the season, joined them in January, and is struggling to get into their side. On paper, it looked like an exceptional signing because, you know, his record in League One is absolutely fabulous. One of the best League One players this league has seen over the last 5 years and probably will ever see. And when he came to the club, you know, there was a lot of excitement, but we did know that, you know, he was going to be slightly behind everybody due to his fitness. But when he was up to scratch, he didn't really work out for us. He did get the 2 goals. I think he scored one of them in the Papa John's Trophy and one of them in the league against Plymouth Argyle. Both of them were really good finishes, by the way. They were really good finishes, so fair play to him on that. But yeah, I just think he didn't really work out, and I think it was the right decision to loan him out to Bolton. And as I said, he's not getting into their side. He's barely making their bench there. And there's been a lot of opinions about Madison where a lot of people were saying, oh, Adkins could get the best out of him, where Bowyer didn't. You know, Bowyer didn't play him and scapegoated him for everything. Adkins could get the best out of him. Personally, I don't think Adkins' positive attitude and Madison's seemingly rude boy, I'll do whatever I want attitude and wants to play PlayStation and eat Dominoes all the time, that sort of attitude I don't think is going to work well with Adkins. Unless he can try and fix it like Bowyer tried to do, then it could potentially work out. But yeah, me personally, I don't think he's worked out for us this season, and I don't really see him as part of our plans next season. Personally, I think we should let him go, and 63% of you do agree with me. You guys think that, for the majority anyway, that you think he should leave. A lot of people have said, you know, we could potentially get the best out of him, and hey, if Adkins can do that, then I'm all for it. If he can get the best out of him, change his attitude, get him to play for the team, then I'm all for that. But personally, I don't really want his attitude around this club anymore. And to wrap up this video, the final player on this list, we have the poll that was literally, it was the most one-sided poll that we have seen in this entire video. It, of course, is our top scorer, the big man, Chuks Aneke. 96% of you voted for Chuks to stay, and you obviously know what I'm going to say. Completely agree. Chucks, we have to do everything in our power to keep hold of him. Going into the League One season, he was going to have a blinding year for us, and that's exactly what he's gone and had. 12 goals in League One, an additional one in the Carabao Cup, so 13 in all competitions. He has been absolutely superb this season, and he has been a vital part of this squad, you know, a vital part of this team. There will definitely be summer interest from Championship clubs. Massive part of this team, fantastic season, and we've got to do everything we can to keep hold of him. So that is it for this video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, can you possibly leave a like, subscribe if you're new around here, and turn on those post notifications so you're notified of when I post. What do you guys think of our out-of-contract players and our loans? Who should stay and who should go? Who should stay as part of Nigel Adkins' rebuild next season? Let me know in the comments below. This has been Tyler Rolinson. Have a nice day, and I will see you all in the next video. Take it easy, stay safe, and I'll see you all then.